Old and enduring love, soulmates in the twilight years. Snow has fallen outside the window of the small ivory-colored house. In the suburbs, blanketing the bare climbing rose bushes, Mr. Hung, 62 years old, sits at the wooden table, holding a well-worn newspaper he. Mrs. Lan has silver-streaked hair, neatly tied up, with a few strands falling over her eyebrows, although time has etched deep wrinkles at. Mrs. Lan has silver-streaked hair, neatly tied up, with a few strands falling over her eyebrows, although time has etched deep wrinkles at the corners of her eyes. Those eyes still shine with intelligence, and her hands move swiftly with the needles. The sweater she is knitting is for her newborn granddaughter, a great joy in her twilight years. "Grandma," Mr. Hung gently calls, his voice warm, accompanied by a familiar light cough. "Why don't you take a break for a moment? Knitting for too long can strain your eyes. You'll have shoulder pain again this afternoon." Mrs. Land doesn't get upset. She just smiles and replies, "I'm almost done. Look at this. Doesn't this sky blue look fresh? Will it suit little Cootie at Angus Place?" Mr. Hung folded the newspaper down, slipped on his indoor sandals, and walked closer. The small, lovely sweater was intricately knitted and soft. He gently placed his hand on Mrs. Land's shoulder. Where the muscles had grown tired, it's perfect. More beautiful than anything bought at the market, but dear. "I remember you said the shoulder needs your oil to feel better. Let me massage it for you." Mrs. Lan, touched, shook her head. "No, dear, let's skip that for now. You walking back and forth reminds me too much of our old story when we got married. Back then, my sweater had a big tear from the trunk I used to catch fish. You had to sew it up yourself, and it ended up looking like a rat's nest." Mr. Hung burst into laughter, a crisp laugh filled with deep emotion. He recalled the years of hardship, tea, the biting cold, the struggles of life, and the grateful glances exchanged. The tender affection of Mrs. Lan when receiving the patched shirt. "This woman, why bring up that unfinished story again?" he said, his voice tinged with a bit of melancholy and pride. "At that time, there was no money to buy a new one. Yet you insisted on wearing it for the wedding photos. That tear isn't just a tear. It's a mark of the poverty and hardships that we both held hands to overcome." "It's not just about the tear," Mrs. Lan said, becoming heavy-hearted as she set down her knitting. "I wear that shirt because it was the first one you gave me. Even though it's old and patched, it represents all your love and effort at that time. I wear it to remind myself to value. What I have and to cherish the person who has given me everything precious." They fell silent for a moment. More than 35 years have passed. Together, they witnessed the architecture of their growth, leaving stable jobs in the city to build this house to escape the dust, to grow vegetables, and to raise fish. Their life now is no longer filled with storms and tempests, but it presents different challenges. The long sleepless nights due to joint pain, the moments of absorbing each other's gaze too, confirm that the other is still safe after a coughing fit. Those memories do not fade away. Instead, they transform into an invisible thread, stronger than the wool sweater she is knitting, connecting to souls that have become familiar with each other's every breath. "Dear," Mr. Hung said again, holding his wife's warm, calloused hand. "House would have burned down a long time ago." Mrs. Lan gently patted his hand, chuckling, "What debts? You think too much." Affection. Their love was no longer just promises of fiery passion, but a deep understanding, a habit, a solid and warm foundation. "I owe you so much in this life. Without you, I don't know where I would be. My fiery temper, if you hadn't calmed it down, this. I owe you so much in this life. Without you, I don't know where I would be. My fiery temper, if you hadn't calmed it down, this." "Of course, your braised fish is the best," Mr. Hung said cheerfully. "Let me go to the garden to get some fresh herbs and chili for you." Mrs. Lan stood up and leisurely walked to the kitchen. Do you want us to cook the braised fish you like tonight? It has to be really thick and spicy. NGA is coming back tomorrow, and they will complain about the food I cook. He stepped out the door, his windbreaker slightly tight over his car, yet still exuding the strength of a pillar of a man. Mrs. Lin watched him go, her gaze filled with, "All I wish for is to see you healthy, to stop worrying about those things on TV, and for us to grow old together like this." She replied. That smile was not just joy but also a sense of safety, knowing that just a bowl of hot rice, a pot of braised fish, and someone to share the sounds by the window. Their love, simple like the warmth. Just a bowl of hot rice, a pot of braised fish, and someone to share the sounds by the window. Their love, simple like the warmth, radiating from the pot of braised fish about to boil on the stove, was as enduring as winter must give way to spring. They were not lovers, they were soulmates, the only companions to walk the path of life together. In the cold of winter, the small house was filled with the aroma of spicy wine, laughter, and the quiet yet enduring care of a couple in their later years. Mrs. Land sat down her sweater and looked out the window where the snowflakes continued to fall. She knew that time spares no one. Gray hair, wrinkles, and the remaining corners were undeniable evidence. Yet it was these very things that made their love deeper. They loved each other not for perfection. Each wrinkle on Mr. Hong's face is a challenge that she has overcome with him. Each gray hair of Mrs. Lan. Each wrinkle on Mr. Hong's face is a challenge that she has overcome with him. Each gray hair of Mrs. Lan is a night that Mr. Hung stayed awake worrying. Mrs. Lan, with gentle eyes, read aloud, like a whisper. Sent softly into the cold outside, golden hair now, love still green. Life follows one path, like a leaning tree. Old patched sweater, worn and thin, because of a hand, mending all trade. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, 7 years. Just hoping to be together, hands still joined, warming each other's lives through the frost. Transforming into soulmates, forever at peace. When Mr. Hung's footsteps returned, bringing with them the chill and strong scent, Mrs. Lan opened her eyes.